So, this throne has appeared, and the taking of the book is somewhere within this 2,520 days that we established last time. But where? Well, let's look at what we know of this scene. We know the seals are unbroken because Revelations 5:1 says the scroll is still sealed, because you've got to break the seals thereof. And verse 2 speaks of the question of who is worthy to loose the seals. If they were already broken, then the person wouldn't be able to loose them. So this is pre-seals. Kind of a weird term to use, but we're going to coin it. We also know that this must be pre-rapture. 1 Thessalonians 4, verses 15 through 17 says, "For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. Then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord." Now the word rapture does not occur in the Greek. The word rapture is actually a Latin word that was put in. It is a direct translation of the word harpagesometa, which is in verse 17, and it properly means to seize by force or to snatch up suddenly and decisively, like someone seizing bounty, and it is an open display of force, not covertly or secretly. So when we speak of the rapture, we speak of this as a specific event. It says that this is before the coming of the Lord. So since the Lord is in heaven, still getting the sealed scroll to redeem his people, this has to be before the rapture. And I do want to point out that word rapture, that specific part where it says to take by a display of force, an open display. There was a movie I watched recently. It was a great movie. It had that suddenness to it. There's people just walking around, and all of a sudden there's clothes hitting the ground. And they're all sitting there going, looking around. And that was where they got it wrong, because then one of them goes, "What just happened?" No, this is going to be an open display of force. Everybody's going to know exactly what happened. There's not going to be a, "What happened?" No. It's going to be a, "Oh, man." And they're going to know. If you look in Matthew chapter 24, verses 29 through 31, Jesus says, "Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." Now verse 29 is in reference to verse 21, but we'll go all the way back to verse 15 so that we can place verse 21. So starting in verse 15 of the same chapter, When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judah flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath, neither on the Sabbath day. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Verse 15 gives us a fixed point in the 2,520 days, when the abomination of desolation stands in the holy place. And that comes directly from Daniel 9:27 and 11:31. Chapter 9, verse 27 reads, "And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even to the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate." And in chapter 11, verse 31, it says, "And armed shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate." So, the abomination that maketh desolate, which is what we are looking for here, it says that will occur in what's called the Wahasi of the week, which the word Wahasi means half. And that is when the covenant is broken and the desolation will begin. So verse 15 puts us at either day 1260 or 1261. That means that verse 21's reference to tribulation cannot occur until then. That gives us a point of reference for verse 29. "Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be broken." So verse 29 must occur after that tribulation period. Now remember these markers in this verse, because we will see that this points to when one of the seals are. Because we know the seals aren't open yet, and because we know the tribulation must have occurred, and we know that the tribulation cannot start until day 1260 or 1261 of the 7th week, verse 30 and 31 show that the angels sent together the elect and the sign of Jesus appearing in the heavens cannot occur until after the tribulation ends. This places the gathering of the elect, the term for those that are saved, and the coming of the Lord after the tribulation period, after day 1260 and after this throne scene in Revelation 4:5. Because the seals are not open yet, one of those seals will be the cause of Matthew 24:29 that we'll see later on. So we don't know the exact date, but we can find a window of time within the time frames that are given. This will also give us a window for the 7th trumpet, which we'll get to later. 1 Corinthians 15 verses 51 and 52 says, "Listen, I tell you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we will all be changed. In a flash, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised imperishable, and we will be changed." This is further proof that we will be here at the time of the 7th trumpet. The fact that we have a trumpet seen in the previous verses in Matthew helps to solidify the connection along with the appearance of the Lord. Remember that this occurs at a specific seals event, but it's not the last seal, so we know the last trumpet will come right about the same time. But we'll see why when we get to placing the trumpets. After day 1261's events ends, which is after this throne scene. So we now have a semi-working time frame, not a timeline. I'm going to do my best to not interchange these words because they are not the same. That will continue to help guide us as we begin to delve into the events in the next few chapters. I do want to go ahead and end this video with one quick thought that I'd like y'all to think about before you watch the next one. And that is, we speak of the seals, of the trumpets, of the woes and the vials. But there's going to be one event in here that a lot of people miss, and it's the 7 thunderings. So where do you think that's going to fit in? And as we build this, I will try to hold up different pictures and signs of kind of showing you where within this time frame, not a timeline, some of these events appear that they will occur.